Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS are going to have to overhaul so many things at Manchester United, but one thing they've got to do straight away is our recruitment strategy ahead of this summer, because this summer we have to get it right. In my opinion, you can directly correlate the success of a football club with how well they do in the summer transfer window. If United can get 2 or 3 in a row, things will really transform at this club. And what I want to do in this video is run through an article from The Independent that discusses how Ratcliffe and INEOS are going to change our recruitment strategy with 3 focus points: data, youth, and then moving responsibility away from the manager. All 3 I agree with. I want to run through it in a bit of detail. I'm going to enjoy this video because I think this one's really exciting. The conversation around Old Trafford is huge and very exciting. It's further down the line. This one, we need in quick, ASAP, to get ready for the summer. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. But this is the article that I'm going to run through here. And it says that they want to switch and focus towards younger signings, on data, and also to reduce the responsibility of the manager. So when it comes to youth at Manchester United, that picture there's almost like instantly iconic, isn't it? 18-year-old Kobbie Mainoo, 19-year-old Garnacho who've come through the academy, and 21-year-old Højlund. Højlund is the sort of signing that we need to make more of. It goes to show that United can get it right, but our hit rate is just so bad in the transfer market. And even when we do hit, we overpay. And there's 2 names that have been heavily linked with United, and I think they should be as well, for the right reasons. Jarrad Branthwaite from Everton, 21 years old. He was linked to us way earlier in the season before anything to do with INEOS or anything to do with this shift towards younger signings. But Branthwaite at 21 can play left centre-back, right centre-back, Premier League proven. Man, he does tick a lot of boxes, as does Michael Elise, 22-year-old from Crystal Palace. Somebody who's technically very gifted, can play across the front line. He could add some brand new dimension to our attack. Both of them younger, Premier League proven. And I think that's an important point here. It's not to say that players from other countries and the leagues can't succeed in England, but you do kind of minimise risk a little bit with Premier League proven signings, but it does come with an extra tax. But also, as part of this overall switch from our current strategy to where INEOS want us to go, data is a big, big part of that. This is what's written in the article. Data is part of the DNA at INEOS, so it's no surprise it's going to be a big part of what they do at Manchester United. They really spoke Sir Dave's language. There is a real natural kinship there, and INEOS is very big on data, so it's a very important area for Jim and Sir Dave. And when it comes to Erik Ten Hag, look, has he been responsible for all our signings? Not individually, but he's had far more responsibility than he should have had. Certainly in his first summer, where we didn't have anybody we could lean on, he was like, go after Antony, go after Martinez. Of course, Martinez was a great hit, but Antony, we could have signed 2 players, both who would have been better than Antony, I think. Anyway, United have overpaid. And United have had data. We've had that tracker man system that was brought in. But I said this in the live show this morning. The data is only as important as the person who is using it. And that is where Manchester United have fallen foul. That's where Chelsea have fallen foul. They've got all the money in the world. They think all you need to do is sign younger players. Like, basically, they're following the 2 principles of that there. Let's sign younger players and let's focus on data. That's pretty much what Chelsea have done, and it hasn't worked. So it goes to show you it's not just about data. It's not just about young signings. You have to get it right. And that's where United need the right people in. That's why I've been pushing for Ashworth and pushing for Mitchell, and whoever it's going to be to lead this operation has to be the right mind, because on its own, data is nothing. But I want to do an interesting segment here on the data itself, because I think this is really interesting when it comes to modern society, really. Data is crucial. There's so much of it. And if you can use it correctly, you can basically, you can create almost like an algorithm that you can work towards. It's not as scientific as that. Transfers, they're far more nuanced. They do require the human eye. But data can make things so much easier for you. And Man United, look, this was back in 2021. That we appointed Dominic Jordan as the Director of Data Science. But change at Manchester United hasn't ever... Look, the tracker man, he was involved in that. But you know why it didn't work? I just explained it. the wrong person in charge of it. Now, Dominic Jordan, he has been at the club now for a few years, and he's also started to bring in, this is interesting actually, if you look down here at Dominic Jordan, where he was working before United, he worked at the N Brown Group as a Director of Data Science and Analytics. And we go across here, now this is Chris Schumer. Now, he was brought in as the Head of Data Operations at United. Look where he worked before, N Brown Group, and you'll spot that as a little bit of a pattern. But Chris Schumer has been brought in, as I said, as a head of data operations, and he interestingly gave an interview that I want to run through here. All right, the coding behind the beautiful game at Manchester United, because he gave a little bit of insight into how the data is being seen inside the club. He goes, data science enables decision makers to make better judgments using data-driven knowledge. This capability results in a data-informed organization. When we think of data enablement, we think of the entire organization as a data team. We are not only there to answer questions, but also to help people answer their own questions using data. This is a more scalable approach, making Manchester United the best data platform, not just in sport, but in football. And United have just gone on to bring in Nick Grimshaw as a data scientist. Any prizes for guessing where he was brought in from? The M Brown Group. So Dominic Jordan leading it is basically doing, right, okay, I trust all the people that I used to work with before, not necessarily who worked with, but I trust that company. Let's cherry pick you. Let's cherry pick you. And he's building a data team at our club. Now, data is not going to be everything. In isolation, data will not get you what you want. Money in isolation will not get you what you want. Look at United. We've had money. Like, spending hasn't been the problem in the last 10 years under the Glazers. It's who's been in charge of it. Same problem that has existed at Chelsea. And I hope that club folds in on itself and disappears into a black hole. But you know who loves data? Dave Brailsford. And he has had success using it. Using that marginal gain system, which we will see at United, but that's more long-term. In the short term, there's so many bigger changes. So we go macro changes rather than the micro stuff. Dave Brailsford was successful with British Cycling using that marginal gains. He went to INEOS. He went to, I did go to INEOS, but went to Nice, performed the audit there, and used the data. And that's where I think the interesting conversation surrounds Francesco Farioli, who is Nice manager. Actually, there's a deep dive coming out on Nice and INEOS, and this is a little part of it. But Farioli was not a name who would have been high on anybody's list to be the next big manager, right? He managed in Turkey. He actually was the goalkeeping coach who worked under De Zerbi, interestingly enough. But Alanyaspor was his first full-time job. Well, not his first full-time job. I think he was an assistant there before. But that's all he did before he went to Nice. And he's been a revelation at Nice. And data was a big part of how they identified that Farioli was the right manager for them. And that's what data allows you to do. United, we've gone by what we've seen and what we've known. Ten Hag has seen Malacia. Ten Hag knows Eriksen. Ten Hag worked with Martinez. He had managed Anthony. Maybe you saw Mason Mount a little bit different. Onana falls into that category. And United have overpaid for the privilege of that. Now, I'm not saying that data is going to be everything, because it's not. And I think that triumvirate, that focus on younger signings, right? I'd be really excited about both of those signings. That focus on taking the responsibility away from the manager by using data, that right there is the right strategy. There's more that's needed, all right? And I've said that already. Man United need the right people leading this new revolutionized transfer recruitment setup where data is a big key component of it. It's the way the modern game is going. You might say it's boring. This is how top clubs work now. This is how you identify those signings who might be a couple of years younger, who might be under the radar. But if you've got the right data system in place and you've got the right recruitment team analyzing that data, then you really might be able to find those gems. And we signed a gem in the summer. We had to pay 70 million for it. This summer is where we have to get it right. There can't be any more Anthonys. There can't be any more paying 70 million for a Frenkie de Jong replacement in Casemiro, who, let's be honest, is not a long-term signing. That's why younger signings do make sense. They can have a long-term career at our club, not in 1-2 years' time going, got to sign another one. This is going to be the most interesting change that Ratcliffe and INEOS do, and the most needed, because it has to come quickly. Old Trafford, further down the line. But building a new recruitment structure and making it work in time for the summer, that's going to be key for turning things around at this football club. Let me know what you think about data, about the focus on youth, taking responsibility away from Ten Hag, and that should be the case. The manager, Erik Ten Hag, should be going to whoever is our head of recruitment and sporting director and say, right, I want a dual monster in the number 6 role. I want a ball-playing, right-sided centre-back who's comfortable playing in the channels on his own in a high line. Okay, Erik, right, I've got your profiles. We'll come back to you with the signings. Not Erik Ten Hag going, I want you to sign Harry Kane, or I want you to sign Jean-Claire Todibo. It'll be about profiles, not about names and individuals. And then the data team, the recruitment team, they go away and do their job and say, right, this is who we've identified. This is who we can go after. That there is change. And change is needed when it comes to United's transfers.